Hello, friends. Welcome to Operation Remote Resilience. My name is Kelly Campbell. I am a certified Warriors at Ease yoga teacher, and I am here to guide you through a 30-minute restorative yoga practice. First and foremost, before we begin with any shapes, movements, or breath, listen to your body first and foremost. If there is a particular shape that I cue for that does not resonate within your body, know that you can always opt out. For our restorative yoga practice, it is very grounding, very nourishing. We will move slowly, hang out in the shapes for a bit of time. Because of that, you may desire some props. I'm going to go over what I have next to me. Feel free to utilize the exact same items if you have them available. If not, you can utilize pillows, blankets, towels, even cushions from couches or chairs nearby. What I have next to me is a blanket, 2 yoga blocks, an eye pillow, which is nice for over the eyes and forehead during a final relaxation. Then I have 2 larger bolsters. One is a circular, longer bolster, and then I have a bigger rectangle. That these are quite nice to support the legs and upper body if you so desire. Let us begin. Before we do, please consider subscribing to the Warriors at Ease YouTube channel. This way you can stay up to date on all the videos that we have available as they stream live or are newly posted. Begin in a comfortable seated position. If you'd like, you can sit atop a block or a prop. Elevation of the hips may provide some additional comfort for your body. Any shape that calls to you. I normally gravitate towards legs crossed with knees bent. You could take something similar or something totally different. From here, we're going to move through some gentle seated cat-cow motion. Hands come palms down to either thighs or knee space from our neutral spine. Inhale for cow. Gently pull the chest forward, gaze upward towards the ceiling. Then exhale for cat, chin to chest around the spine. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. 2 more. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. Last one. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. Return to center with the neutral spine. We take a seated forward fold. You can, if you had invited in a prop to sit atop, you can keep it there or you can remove it, your choice. Unwind the legs and send them directly out in front of the body. Your choice on if you'd like your limbs to touch from the ankles and feet all the way up, or you could place a bit of space between it. Absolutely up to you. Then from here, if you desire some additional support through the upper body, you can take some props. I'm going to utilize one of my larger bolsters and place it the length of my legs. Adds a bit of compression and some overall support to the lower body. And then I'm going to utilize a blanket rolled up. So this is a great option if you don't have a blanket, or you can use a towel. It's a really nice option to roll in that same fashion. This just gives my forehead a place to land, which I find more comfortable for my body. And as I stated at the start of class, this practice is meant to be nourishing and grounding, which for me translates to let's find as much comfort as possible. So once you have those props set up, then begin to fold the upper body forward. I'm going to bring my forehead down onto my roll blanket, but I will still continue to talk. And then I'm just going to gently place my hands out in front of my towel roll so it doesn't move and just gives my upper body a location to rest. Eyes can be opened or closed. And if you notice that you need to make an adjustment to a specific part of your body or move an article of clothing, don't hesitate to do that. Allow the breath to travel in and out of the body at a rhythm that feels comfortable for you. Take 5 more rounds of breath here. After that 5th round of breath, begin to return yourself to an upright position. Pause. Then begin to remove your props. It's not uncommon for me to cue for pauses during any and all yoga classes, especially during positional changes of the body. If we move too quickly, sometimes that may result in some lightheadedness and dizziness. So for myself, in being in that forward fold position, coming upright immediately and then jumping right back into movement can be a little bit disconnected. So I just slowly rise upward, take those few intentional rounds of breath, and then invite that motion back in. Now, begin to bend the knees so your feet are flat. If you're still sitting atop a prop, you can remove that out from underneath the body. With our knees bent, feet flat, hands come behind ourselves as we take some gentle windshield wiper motion. Now, the majority of today's practice will be done in supine, lying on the ground. I'd like to mention that because if you notice that lying completely supine for an extended period of time does not work for your body, always an option to add in a bolster or a bit of elevation for the upper body, so you're more in an inclined position. Or if it becomes too much, you can always return to an upright seated position, take a little break, get your body acclimated, and then return to the floor. Come back to center with both knees as we make our way onto the ground. Now, I may not utilize all of my props. However, I do want them within arm's reach. There has been more than one occasion where I have set myself all up, I've come to the ground, and wouldn't you know it, the prop that I desire most is just out of arm's reach. So from those instances, I have learned, even if I don't plan on using it, I'm going to keep it where I can get to it if I need to. So as you can tell, I've got everything around me. Feel free to set yourself up in a similar fashion. And I'm just going to slide a couple things out of the way just so you can see me through the duration of the practice. Now, got my props close by as we make our way onto the ground. Now, if you are practicing on a surface that feels rather hard, sometimes the yoga mat just isn't enough, you can opt to take your blanket or towel roll, unfold it all of the way, and you can lay it the length of your mat. Having that additional cushion can provide some additional comfort within the physical body, which then translates to more comfort of the mind and the spirit, which is what we are nourishing today, making some space. I'm going to leave this here. So I'm going to explore that and what that feels like today. Oh, I've got my blanket unrolled. I'm coming all the way onto the back. Knees are bent, feet are flat, arms come by the sides. We take a few audible rounds of breath together. Inhale. Open mouth, exhale. One more. Inhale. Open mouth, exhale. From knees bent, we slowly bring them in towards the chest. Utilize the hands to give them a gentle squeeze inward. Then begin to invite in some motion if you desire. If you are utilizing the hands, you can opt to bring them to the front of the legs, just like I have, or you can bring them behind the knees. And come here. And if you normally gravitate towards one way, perhaps explore the other option just to see what it feels like, right? Like, oh, I've never tried that before. You can have space between the knees and the feet and the legs, or you can zip everything to center as you're moving and rocking and rolling. I'm providing an out loud commentary, but I noticed for myself in the placement of the blanket, as I take this circular motion of my legs, it has added an additional layer of comfort to the low spine. I have that extra cushion that actually feels quite nice as I rock and roll. So take a few moments on your end as you're moving and making some abstract shapes perhaps. Of like, oh, what do I feel right now? And if you have also added a blanket or a towel underneath the body, how has that altered the sensations? If any. Maybe you don't notice any difference. If your eyes are open, take those few moments just to notice your environment around you. The colors, the textures of the space, how the light enters. Return to center. Keep the right knee in as you send the left leg long. And you're like, oh, Kelly, I did the other way. That's okay. I'm going to scoop myself up on my space. Feel free to do so if needed. We set up for a supine tree pose. Much like in a traditional tree pose, we send one leg long as it roots to the earth and space beneath us. And then our opposite foot comes to the inside of that straightened leg, anywhere along that extended limb. And if you desire, you can utilize a prop underneath that bent limb. And I'm going to prop that space. So then I move from a strive and achieve of like, oh, I'm going to crank on the knee, I'm going to get it to touch the ground, to a space of, oh, ease and comfort of like, right? Support. You got the props or even things from around the house, use them. Now, I've got my bent knee upon my prop, extended legs sent away from the body. If you desire additional sensation, you can add in an arm variation. You can come to cactus, goalpost arms, that 90-90 position of the shoulders and elbows, or perhaps even send them directly overhead. Eyes can be opened or closed as we allow ourselves to ground. Notice all of the various locations that connect to the space beneath the body, the back of the head, the heel of the foot, and anywhere in between. Take 3 more rounds of breath. After your 3rd round of breath, if you had opted for the arm variation, begin to return them towards the body. With the help of the hands, bring that bent knee back in towards center. Pause here as we now move immediately to a supine twist. We're going to take the bent knee and bring it across the body in the opposite direction of supine tree pose. You can utilize the hand on the opposite side to just gently guide the knee. Arm on the side of the bent limb can extend out towards the side or take that goalpost arm. Now, this is a great location. You can see I've got space between my bent limb and the earth beneath me. Now, I could crank on that leg, really find a way to touch the ground, which I'm sure many people watching are like, oh yeah, I've done that. However, that is not our intention. Additional depth in any shape of yoga does not translate to additional worth and value. I'm going to take my larger bolster, slide that down to give my entire leg, a place to land and let out that audible, whoo, because my body now feels supported. And when you are in a place of support within the body, you can find perhaps additional space for rest and ease. Eyes can be opened or closed. If that rotation of the neck feels rather uncomfortable, you can just gaze upward towards the space above you. Allow the breath to travel in and out of the body at a comfortable rhythm for you. Three more rounds of breath. After the third round of breath, gently rotate the bent limb back towards center. Bring both knees in towards the chest. Utilize the hands to give them a gentle squeeze inward as you rock or roll. Again, hand placement is personal preference. Space between the lower limbs is personal preference as well. Now, we've only taken those two shapes on one side. So as you are here in our transitional period, just some free flow movement, just explore what you may or may not notice between sides. There's no wrong answer. It's just to bring your awareness back to the present moment of what do I feel? What do I notice? And to provide you with some of my own internal dialogue commentary, the side that we've taken those shapes on, I feel more openness, more length. And I also notice my body is like, okay, let's take it to the other side. I'm ready to feel similar sensations on the other side. Return to center as we switch sides. Slow and intentional. We are in no rush. Keep your left knee in, send the right leg long. Now, as soon as I come here, my heel lands to the ground, not onto the mat, and that automatically just does not feel comfortable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to release this leg, bring that foot flat, hands come by the body, and then I'm just going to slowly shimmy myself up. That already feels better because now I'm landed to the mat and the heel of the foot's like, okay, not so bad. Bring the knee back into the chest. We first take our supine tree pose. I've got my extended leg, much like I would in a standing version. Right foot would be to the ground, the earth beneath me. Then the sole of my other foot comes to the inside of the straightened leg, anywhere along that limb. You could come up into the thigh space. You could come all the way down to the bottom and kickstand. Your choice. Now, there is some space between my bent limb and the space beneath me. I could crank on that leg, make it touch the ground, but that is not our intention for this practice. So I'm going to re-invite in a block and just place that underneath that knee for some additional support. Now, while here, if you're like, the shape feels fine, it's my clothing. Guess what? You have the power and the option to make some clothing adjustments, maybe just like I am, of bringing the shirt down or adjusting whatever clothing you have on for the lower body. And if you desire again, you can re-invite in that arm variation. Cactus goalpost arms, or perhaps send them directly overhead. Eyes opened or closed towards the ceiling as we allow the posture and shapes to unfold. Bring awareness to all of the various points that your body connects with, from the back of the head all the way down to the heel of the foot. 3 more rounds of breath. After your last round of breath, if you had opted for the arm variation, slowly begin to return the hands towards the trunk. Bring that bent knee back in towards center as we move immediately to our supine twist. Now, I'm going to move around my large bolster because I already know that I'm going to want it for my lower body for some additional support. So feel free to do the same thing. With our knee bent, hand from the opposite side, can gently guide it across the body. Hand from the same side of that bent limb can extend outward. If rotation of the neck is like, ooh, just doesn't feel comfortable, so rotate back towards center to a more neutral position. You can take that entire leg if you've got a prop and just place it on there for that additional stability and support. Because I notice within my own body that by providing that support throughout the entire limb, it translates to more ease, that I can soften the edges even more as I hang out here. Relax the jaws. Peel the tongue from the roof of the mouth. And soften the face. Three more rounds of breath. After your third round of breath, mindfully rotate the lower body back towards center. Bring both knees in towards the chest. Utilize the hands to give them a slow squeeze inward as you rock or roll. We are going to set ourselves up for a short Shavasana, final relaxation. Return to center with the knees, then send them long on the earth. As you can tell, I've got my larger bolster that I'm just placing underneath both knees. That slight bend in the lower body can provide some additional support to the low spine. If you have an eye pillow or a washcloth, you can fold that over and place it across the forehead and eyes. So it's just a nice way to block out the additional light within your space, that even when you close your eyes, if it is the middle of the day, or even if it's nighttime and you've got house lights on and a TV going and some sort of device, obviously, to watch this on, that even with the eyes closed, that you can still get that additional light that comes through the eyelids. So just to place something over the eyes can really elevate that sense of rest for the body. Arms can come by the sides, or if you'd like some additional connection to the breath, you can place one hand over the heart and the other over the belly as we just feel and notice that air as it travels in and out of our bodies. We will not be here for an extended period of time. However, a few mindful, intentional rounds of breath and pause can be really impactful. So let us take 5 unhurried rounds on our own. After your 5th round of breath, if you are ready to join me in concluding the class, begin to invite some additional movement back to the body. For those of you that are like, oh no, this feels quite nice, always an option to stay there and hang out for a bit more time. Wiggle the fingers and toes, take some wrist and ankle circles. From your supine position, roll towards your right or left side. Place the hands to the ground, press yourself upright. Hello, friends. Make your way to a comfortable seated position. Any shape you desire, utilizing a prop or not to sit atop. As we conclude our time, bring hands to heart center, palms to touch, as we take 3 cleansing rounds of breath together. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Open mouth, exhale, hands start center. 2 more. Inhale, sweep it up. Open mouth, exhale, hands start center. 1 more. Deepest breath of the day. Inhale, take it all in. Open mouth, exhale, let it all go. It has been my pleasure guiding you through practice today, friends. Again, my name is Kelly Campbell. I am a certified Warriors at Ease teacher, and this was a restorative yoga practice with Operation Remote Resilience. If you feel compelled, please consider donating to Warriors at Ease. It is because of individuals like yourself who donate to our cause that allows us to provide these classes to individuals locally and abroad. I hope you all have a great rest of the day, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Goodbye, my friends.